Don't turn your back on the Wolfpac. It goes without saying that the NWO was one of the biggest storylines and factions in wrestling history. The original trio of Hogan, Hall and Nash was awesome, and the NWO was a major reason as to why WCW became the #1 wrestling company for a while. Today, I'm sharing with you my memories and thoughts of the spin-off group, the NWO Wolfpac, the red and black, and a faction that many felt was a tad cooler than what the NWO became. Thanks in advance for taking the time to check out this video of my thoughts and memories of the NWO Wolfpac. If you love wrestling, then please feel free to give the like button the good old finger poke of doom, and be sure to subscribe for more wrestling content. The 1997 Wolfpac. While the Wolfpac would not officially begin until 1998, the seeds were planted in 1997, when Scott Hall and Sean Waltman, also known as X-Pac, would call themselves Nash and Six, the Wolfpac. It was like their own little faction that was within the NWO. What was interesting about this is that Six would never actually get to be part of the official Wolfpac, as he had joined the WWF before. At the time, I thought these three by far were the coolest part of the NWO. I would be interested to know if you guys felt the same. The Stinger Splash and Macho Madness. Before we get to the formation of the Wolfpac, we have to go back to the end of 1997, when the Hulk Hogan and Sting feud was coming to an end. WCW Starrcade 1997 would end in controversy, leading to the title being vacated. A rematch between Hulk Hogan and Sting would happen at Super Brawl, where Sting would win the title and the real dissension in the ranks of the NWO would raise its head. At this point, the NWO was huge, not just in terms of popularity, but in the number of wrestlers. Macho Man Randy Savage was not happy with the way things were, and with Hogan's leadership,
"The NWO, I'm kicking you out!"
Both are obsessed with being the leader,
and said he would be the one to bring the title back to the NWO.
I always wonder if we never left.
Yeah, I always think about that.
Yeah, the butterfly effect.
Add into this the firing of Six, and you also had Kevin Nash taking issue with Hogan and Eric Bischoff, which led to even more dissension in the ranks of the NWO. Watching at the time, I personally thought this was really cool. I mean, you just knew that the NWO was close to imploding, but what would be the final straw that would set it all off? Spring Stampede. The end of the original NWO would come about at the 1998 Spring Stampede. This event would see Hogan and Nash team up to take on the Giant and Roddy Piper. At the end of the match, Hogan would turn on Nash. However, later in the evening, Nash would interfere in the main event.
And Nash has come in! Powerbomb time, I bet! You're right! He did my Sting!
Helping Randy Savage win the title from Sting, and thus putting Savage on top of the NWO. Now, this was WCW, so they could not let this be, and 24 hours later, Hulk Hogan would end up taking the title from Randy Savage. As a fan at the time, I thought what went down at Spring Stampede 1998 was awesome. But then, the next night, it felt like they threw that all away by having Hogan get the title back so fast. I would love to read your comments about this in the comments section. Do you feel that having Savage drop the title just 24 hours after winning it was the right thing to do? May the 4th be with you. On the May 4th edition of WCW Nitro, the birth of the NWO Wolfpac was official. Kevin Nash, Randy Savage and Conan would show up with red NWO shirts on. Kurt Hennig, Dusty Rhodes, Rick Rude and Miss Elizabeth would also join the squad. These were classed as the faces, and the black and white, or as it would become NWO Hollywood, would be the heels in this feud, expanding the rosters. It did not take long for both the NWO Wolfpac and NWO Hollywood to expand their ranks. The Giant would join NWO Hollywood, and as he was part of a tag team with Sting at the time, he was trying his best to get the Stinger to join him. During this time, Scott Hall made his return to WCW, and it seemed inevitable that he would join Kevin Nash as part of NWO Wolfpac. In a really cool swerve at 1998's Slamboree pay-per-view, Scott Hall would turn his back on Nash and instead join forces with Hulk Hogan. Lex Luger had already joined the Wolfpac, which added a bit more star power to their ranks, but the big one was yet to come. The Stinger would fool Hollywood Hogan into thinking that he was going to join him, only for him to tear off the black and white NWO shirt and reveal he was part of the Wolfpac. I always thought this was really cool, and looking back now, this was my favourite addition of a new member to either side of the NWO at the time. Do you guys think it would have worked had they made Sting a heel and have him join the black and white? While I think the idea is interesting at this time, I just do not see it working. Gangster, gangster. I want to take a moment here to talk about the image of the Wolfpac. The image of the Wolfpac was that of the cool guys, and during the late 90s they really did pull it off. These guys back then were super cool, and even though they were not exactly young during the time, I felt that they pulled it off. They looked cool, had a badass theme song, and they were a lot of fun. Looking back now though, I feel that the Wolfpac in terms of its style has not aged all that well. Hall versus Nash. During the rest of 1998, Hall and Nash would be at each other's throats, with it coming to a head at the 1998 Halloween Havoc. Most people remember this event for that horrible, and I mean horrible, match between Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. However, something else that was typical WCW happened that night as well. There was a massive match, and a match I was very excited about, between Kevin Nash and Scott Hall taking place. Rather than getting a proper ending, Nash walked out of the match, saying he did not want to fight anymore and just wanted his buddy back. I was so mad when this went down and felt that at the time, Nash looked like an idiot for walking out of the match. The Hollywood Wolfpac. Okay, so the ending of the whole Wolfpac story is a convoluted mess that in many ways is the start of the fall of WCW. And looking back, it is a perfect example of how off the rails things were at this time. It started by Scott Hall helping Kevin Nash, with the aid of a cattle prod, end Goldberg's undefeated streak and become the WCW champion. The next night on Nitro, a returning Hulk Hogan would challenge Nash for the title, and this is where we got the finger poke of doom. One of the worst things to happen in pro wrestling. Now, we had the NWO Wolfpac, which consisted of Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Hulk Hogan. There were, of course, other members, but it was the same old NWO. And even though they wore red and black, it felt like a rehash of what we had seen before. What started out as cool, edgy, and kind of different just became another lame NWO incarnation. I actually really liked the storyline of the NWO Wolfpac taking on NWO Hollywood. I felt that at the start, WCW did a good job in making each faction feel different, and you never knew for certain if a member on either side was going to jump ship. The Wolfpac were late 90s cool and had that swagger, gangster style, and 90s attitude, which made them really cool and popular at the time. Watching the footage back these days is kind of rough, as seeing these middle-aged dudes trying to act street is more cringy than it is cool. In looking back, I actually feel that had Six not been fired and joined the WWF, that a separate NWO that featured Hall, Nash and Six could have worked really, really well. I would love to know your thoughts on the NWO Wolfpac. Did you like the faction? Do you think it could have been done better? Also, how do you feel about the way it all ended? Thanks for watching, and please leave a like and give that subscribe button a big Wolfpac 2 sweet if you want more wrestling action. I'll see you in the next video.